Everyone who sees Kamala Harris speak can't stand Kamala Harris. This is a fundamental truth of our society. People hate her when she talks because she's terrible at it. And this, of course, was on display again last night as part of a CNN town hall. Now, I want to start with a big issue in this campaign because we know there's a lot of sort of side stuff. There's a lot of like personality stuff, her just kind of being bad at answering questions. But I want to start with a real, hardcore, foundational issue of this campaign, the border. Anderson Cooper, who, pressed Kamala Harris pretty hard the night of the debate, did a good job in an interview with Kamala Harris to push her and try to corner her on what the hell is going on with Joe Biden. Does a good job here as well. He is a good moment here. He goes after her and makes sure she tries to avoid the question, but he keeps following up. This is about the border wall. I mean, this exchange is just indicative of why they shouldn't have changed strategies in the first place if they actually wanted to win this race.
Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall.
That's not funny. You didn't make a joke.
Remember Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it?
Mexico would pay for it.
Come on, they didn't.
They didn't pay for it.
How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw was about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
Okay, but you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill.
She will do this.
That deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it.
Oh, that's a good concept.
People have to earn it.
Ooh.
And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president. You
haven't answered the question about the wall
who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on it?
Why do we have to have opinions? Let's just fix it.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? Yeah. We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
The woman cannot answer a freaking question. It's unbelievable. All she's trying to do is evade the entire time. First, the wall is stupid and it's a vanity project. But then also Donald Trump's a failure for not achieving this policy she said was stupid. And now she's saying it would be better to pass a bill that has border wall funding in it, but also she's not committing to actually building the border wall. There's a reason for that. But still, where is this? I actually know less. I feel like the guy from Happy Gilmore. We are now dumber for having listened to that because it's true. We are completely out we have no idea what she actually believes if you listen to her words. Now, in reality, we do know what she believes. She, of course, does believe the border wall is stupid. She just knows it's popular. So she's lying. She does know that the border bill that she says that she wants to pass is something that will never be passed because Republicans won't actually support it. It wasn't going to pass whether Donald Trump supported it or not. He doesn't even have a vote. Yes, he did talk to people about, at least, reportedly talk to people about stopping that border bill. He's talked about it himself, that he wanted to stop the border bill, not because of politics, because he thinks the border bill sucks. It does suck. By the way, that $650 million in the border bill, first of all, does not build the border wall. It would theoretically build a chunk of the border wall with some exceptions. And we covered this on the show months ago. The bill itself calls for $650 million to be earmarked for border wall use. Well, how does that get utilized? Does it automatically happen? Well, no, it doesn't happen. Guess who has to approve it? Kamala Harris. Do you think Kamala Harris, when she's in office already, is going to say, you know what, that $650 million, we're going to make sure we get that border wall done. No, at the very best case scenario, she'll start an environmental study on the wall and nothing will happen at all. Most likely, she'll completely ignore it herself. And guess when that border wall funding ends? September 2028. So it's gone. No, not an inch of wall will be built if Kamala Harris is elected as president and that bill somehow goes through, which, by the way, she won't even push for that because there were at least a couple of decent things in that bill that she'd have to deal with. I guarantee that doesn't get passed either. She knows it won't get passed. But bigger story here is she just won't answer the damn question. You know, an easy question, an easy thing to criticize the administration on would be the border policy. She can't even do that. And that's probably having more to do with the deal she cut with Joe Biden to get his endorsement when he dropped out of the race. Now, we all know that Kamala Harris's answers suck when she's asked a lot of these questions. But why do they suck? Well, she basically tried to address that as well in the town hall.
So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes, I confess.
She's so funny laughing at her own jokes. She's sort of a nerd sometimes. She wants to study it. Now, I don't even know if she can read, frankly. I have no idea, but it doesn't seem like it. The questions that we're talking about here are not questions about some deep, intricate policy issue. What we're asking about are what are your positions on issues that you already had formed in 2019? Why can't you address the things you've already said about your own opinion? You don't need to study that. You don't need a research project to figure out what you think. Over and over and over again, this is what happens. And look, research can help inform what you think, but you already came up with an opinion in 2019. If you've changed that opinion, well, what changed it? Incredible. She also was asked, look, there is certain things that Kamala Harris does poorly. There's other things that are just complete political malpractice. How many times has this woman been asked, what would you change from the Biden administration? What mistakes have you made over the past 4 years? She's been asked this in 5 straight interviews, and every time the answer gets worse. Here's the latest example.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
A mistake. What is a mistake?
Okay, I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Yeah, name one. One.
And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes.
Made mistakes as a parent.
In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
So her mistake was that she's well informed on issues? Well, she just told us that she didn't know what she was doing, so she had to have studies done before she formed opinions. But now she's super well informed on issues, and her mistake would theoretically be if she wasn't informed, but that didn't occur. How has this woman risen beyond the original supposed McDonald's job that she had? I don't understand how she's in this position at all. She is an expert at backroom politics. And you can look back at her history and find many, many examples of how good she is at this. I am not kidding when I say that. She is a gifted, very gifted person at backroom politics, which sometimes it's bedroom politics in some of her history, but generally speaking, backroom politics. We're talking about raising money, kneecapping opponents, using accusations of racism and sexism to get what she wants. She's done a lot of that stuff. She's very, very good at that. So I'm not saying she's not talented, but she is talented in a way like that. Now, let me give you a quick, easy answer to this question, because it's not comfortable for her. She can't really criticize Biden. But she also should be able to come up with some mistake that she's made. And here's an example that I would give. If I were her on stage, they said, hey, last 4 years, what have the mistakes been? I would say this. Look, I'll give you an example on the border. We tried to work hard over in a bipartisan way to work with Republicans to try to get something done that would be long-lasting through Congress to quell what was going on at the border. And we tried version after version after version of this. And over again, Republicans stopped us. And after all, we exhausted every opportunity there. we eventually got to a place where we decided we had to do something ourselves through executive order. I think in retrospect, I think we should have done that earlier. I think we should have moved earlier and realized that the Republicans were not going to come along because Republicans are evil and Hitler times Mussolini or whatever new thing. You get what I'm saying there? Like, that's a mistake without saying it's a mistake, right? You can easily do that. I think another easy one would be, I wish we had gotten ahead of the Afghanistan withdrawal a little bit quicker. Like, I mean, you're going to need to do a little wordsmithing with that one, but that one's such an obvious mistake. You could take responsibility for something like that, and people will say, okay, well, we all know that was a mistake anyway. I can't really punish them anymore for that. My point here is that there are a million examples of this without destroying your own campaign or saying bad things about Joe Biden like you're apparently contractually obligated not to do. This is not hard. This is basic stuff that a politician should be able to handle. And every single time she's asked, the answer gets worse. She's going in the wrong direction, as if she doesn't know what the language is. It really is perplexing. Let me give you another one here. This is not from the town hall. This one, though, is I think this is the one that is about Adolf Hitler, because that's where. Now, let me give you this one first. This review from David Axelrod of her performance, because I thought this was informative. Axelrod, look, he's an Obama official, a guy I'm not a huge fan of for his politics, but he does seem to be at least an honest commentator. He was honest about Joe Biden, saying, look, he's too old and maybe we need to change this thing up. And he's pretty honest about Kamala Harris here. Watch.
The things that would concern me is when she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city. And she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking. And so, on certain questions like that, on immigration, I thought she missed an opportunity because she would acknowledge no concerns about any of the administration's policies. And that's a mistake. Yep. Sometimes you have to concede things, and she didn't concede much. But I'll tell you something. John King mentioned Bill Clinton. No one's going to be Bill Clinton, but you do want to relate to the people in front of you. She didn't do a lot of that. She didn't ask them questions. She didn't address them particularly.
This is on and on and on. Of course, he's completely right on that. This is a disaster for this campaign. And good. Look, for me, for your purposes, probably good. The more she talks, the better. This is why I was so in favor of Donald Trump doing additional debates, because I didn't think she would change tactics and do interviews in town halls like this. It seemed to be something she was locked into. The fact that she has solves all the debate problems, the only having one debate with her. Great. Now she's out there. Now her numbers are tanking. Now people know who she is, and that's a real positive.